And call the meeting to order. Start with the roll call. I'm present. Mayor Pro Tem McClung. Present. Councilmember Swinton is absent. Councilmember Moses. Present. Councilmember Cardale. Here. Councilmember Moore. Present. Thank you. Tonight we have Reverend Bryn Cadell at St. Michael's and All Angels. The invocation for us. Thank you.
Let us pray. Oh God, you have bound us together in a common life, and we are gathered here this evening out of concern for our community and a desire to enhance the lives of those who call Glencoe home. Unite us in our common purpose so we can work together to love our neighbors. God bless our elected leaders with courage, wisdom, and foresight to provide for the needs of all people so that we may live in justice, peace, and truth. Gracious and loving God, we know that you always hold us in the palm of your hand. We thank you for the blessings of health and wholeness. Help us remember to always put our trust in you. Hear us, we pray, in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, one nation, under God, indivisible, Texas. A few announcements. Got word from Texas Water Company that this coming Monday, the 14th, we're moving to stage 3 down from stage 4. So that's a good thing. Need a little more water in session. We'll post that when it becomes active. But we got to notice it's Monday the 14th. I hear the water meters are just about now. We have about 10 left to go. 50.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, already good, yeah.
We have 50
I
left.
got my eyes on.
Okay. We've had a number of things with water bills lately. I'm getting calls. I'm sure you're getting calls. And I replied to the other day. I said there's 3 things that have happened recently that make it a little bit challenging for our small staff. We switched to a new accounting system, a new billing system, not that long ago. We adopted a new rate structure not that long ago. And now we're upgrading all our water meters in the middle of that. So all those things combined, we're discovering things. For example, meters that were in the system as the wrong size. The number of issues that we're digging stuff up that comes to the surface. So if you are having issues with your water bill, we set up a online form to help us be accountable and keep track of the stuff issues as they come in. That is on the website. If you go to the Public Works section, it's also posted on the Facebook page. Simple Google form, but help us categorize, track, and respond to these things, fix them as they come up. That's about it for announcements. Public comments. We have 2 people signed up. First one being Ms. Heidi Savory.
Thank you, council members. I'm here because I think Warren talked to all of you, gave you some insight while I was here. I've been into city council or into city offices multiple times over the last 8 to 10 years, spoken to every single mayor that's been there and walking around my building. I had some roof damage done this past year, just a few months ago with those high winds. The trees that are behind the building, which I've asked on multiple occasions to be cut away from my building, it's never been done. The last time I came in, I spoke to Warren in September or October of last year, specifically asking him to please cut the trees away from the building. He said he would get Cole Services on it. I don't know who dropped the ball on that. Cole was too busy. I don't know. But with the high winds we had 3-4 months ago, which Mayor Mike Arnold actually was driving by and I saw him and he immediately turned back around back to city offices and got somebody on board. Thank you, Mayor, for getting that. But the damage was over $3,000. The rainstorm that we see to come the next week, I had waterfalls of water coming into the building from the trees slapping the building. So I fixed everything, but I'm asking for the city to pay for the damages. I've already paid for that. I just wanted to be reimbursed. I take care of the grass back there. I mow it. The city used to mow it twice a year. The last time it stopped is when we had Martha in there. She said the city didn't know it. Not, she just didn't know. It's not a bad thing on her. It was just, then I picked it up from there and I've been mowing it ever since. Once a month, twice a month, whatever it needs. I take care of the city grounds. I'm just asking to be reimbursed for the damages. I've tried for years to get the city to step up and do it. They failed to do it. Now it's all on you now. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. It's not an action item tonight, so we can't officially do anything.
Yeah, he said he was gonna give you, special sessions or something tonight, so,
Yeah, we got it. We can't pick it up officially, but we'll go through it.
thank you.
Mr. Adam Martin is number 2. Number 2 on the list, number 1.
Hi, I'm Retta Martin, and I'm here tonight because we're not on here to give a committee's report about streetscapes, so I'm here for citizens' comments. When we've been working for a long time on the streetscape plan. So when we were working on the letters and everything, we came up with different ideas on donor recognition, but we never did put it into a plan, actual plan to put in it as part of our program. So I'm just going to go over this with you. The Keep on Go Beautiful is a fundraiser that's done because of a management of agreement back in 2010 and then again in 2020. This fundraisers. Keep on Go Beautiful has been raising money annually since 2000, which means 25 years we've been doing fundraising. So we do know a little bit about it. But we want people to know that the donors for Streetscape are going to get compensated with something and get something to show. But if you go down to the Benzal Park, you will find benches with names on it that they have donated money and they get to put a plaque on it. Under the pergola, there are 3 benches there that have plaques on it that donated money, and all these pots up and down, especially on this side, but it used to be the whole lot, the whole around us, the whole thing at the courthouse. We had our pots out there. And when Renee got busy and did her side, she took that over. But there was one woman that I got a call one morning that wanted to get $3,000. She was in California, but her sister lived here and had passed away. She lived at West Ranches. She wanted to give $3,000 because she loved PBB and she loved in South Florida. So there's a bench down there with her description with a great murder behind it. That's what we're going to be doing with anybody that is a donor for Streetscape. I've been talking to Sue-Ann Pemberton, who's our architect, and Hemisphere has the donor wall, and it's a real popular thing now is to have donor walls. I don't know if you all seen them at different places. So I'm getting all the things on that as much as we can, and Eric is too, on donor walls. We could even have a donor wall in here for the larger donations, like the challenge donations. One of our challenges has been held up because we didn't have this written down. But they can, any donor is going to get something if that's what they want, if they want their name on it. And so if they want to donate for a pot, they can put a star on it. It's a thing. Is that neat?
It is. You can go a little more.
Okay. There are 3 pocket parks here and right out here we could put something with little tables to sit around and drink coffee over there by your place or over there by the post office. I've always wanted that place by the post office with little tables where you can read your mail and we could have a wall there. So I've asked the Streetscape Committee by Friday to give me a list. We have to get this done now by Friday. I hope it's in the paper what we are going to be doing. And if y'all have any ideas between now and Friday, would you call me? Other things that we'll do. But when they come, and also we had a big fundraiser one time, it was $5,000, and David Key was one of the ones that put that on at Treetops. we started the David Key Lamplight Project. And so that was it, Key by Lamplight. And this was in his name, we did this. You put your name on it, you put a plaque on it. So that is number one on the first of the list, in our list, the David Key Lamplight Project. But y'all do let me know if you have other ideas that I haven't seen or so has told me about. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. So there is nobody signed up for the public hearing on short-term rentals, so we're gonna open and close that. There's proclamation this month, the Hill Country Night Sky. You know, I gotta admit, I was a little bit skeptical, standoffish about the whole night sky stuff. You know, we like to do regulations. But you know, it's something that you don't pay attention to until someone points it out, and then you start to realize, wow, this is nice. And what's been accomplished here. I remember growing up hunting in deep South Texas, and before the sun would come up, you could always tell where all the little towns were because the glow around them, you know. And that's really, it's not diminishing the light that people use, it's just basically stopping lights from going out and up unnecessarily is what the basic principle is. And I think it's great. And you know, the stars at night are still big and bright in Blanco. Can't say that everywhere. So I'm not going to do all the whereases, but be it proclaimed that October 2024 shall hereafter be known as Hill Country Night Sky Month in Blanco, Texas. The mayor and Blanco City Council encourage citizens to enjoy the night sky, participate in the Hill Country region's events and programs celebrating the night sky and promoting the ways in which communities are working to preserve it. And that the mayor and council encourages citizens to learn about lights pollution, why it matters, night sky friendly lighting, and lighting recommendations, and implement practices and lighting improvements that will reduce light pollution, thereby preserving our skies. So, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. We have some committee presentations tonight.
I'm sorry, I have a question. I'm new.
Yes.
And I don't mean to interrupt. At the open public hearing, I'm Abby Latham. Was I supposed to sign up
Oh, for the.
She's the owner of
Okay.
the, I think we'll discuss it
We
during
can-
item one.
Yeah, you're first, it's probably easier under item one, then we can interact with you and
Okay.
stuff. So yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I don't know.
Yeah, no problem. That's for folks who wanted us to talk about it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So OJ Armstrong from CMAC, will give us this committee presentation.
Okay. See everybody. So I'm going to talk about a couple points here. You mentioned the building piece, so I'll say give you kind of an overview of the grade order. Basically, the grade order is set up. Some of the problems associated with this building doesn't give enough information. This says water, it's X, sewer, it's Y, and to go to the measure bill. So they're not really understanding how it's created. And so basically, we have four components. One is the actual water that passes through the meter. And what we have is an availability. And the interesting thing is the availability fee is a fixed rate. So what it does is in our budgets that we put together, about 25%, whether it's water or wastewater, is a variable expense. So if and most of those are related to buying water, treating the water, sampling, all of those types of things. We didn't get a drop of water. If you didn't use a drop of water, we still have 75% of our budget is fixed expense. So that's why we created the availability fee. Availability fee is for water and one for wastewater.
How much are they?
How much are they?
Uh-huh.
So on a 5/8 meter, it's $41.49, and on
You tell them. Water and sewer.
just the water is 49, and the wastewater. this side of it. It is, yeah, 32 toilets. And so basically that covers our fixed costs, and then the base for utilization is what covers the variable expense. So that's how you can end up with a bill that's 140, 50, $200, basically. But it's very well thought through to get the numbers to match up. So that way the enterprise fund can start to do reserves, and we account for our appreciation. And that had to get done.
It had been a while since the rates were updated. I know there were some recent years where we were in a big deficit in that.
Absolutely, that was part of, once we got this study done from, what's the name of it?
No, it was
It's the rate study guy.
Security Instrument don't give us the PUC paid for it, so.
Right. And so we just modified it again from there. It's our actual. So the other thing is that today I went to the workshop for the new meters. This is going to be a huge game changer for the city of Blanco. We were in the demonstration, they were showing us how the water was accounted for. We can detect leaks, we can determine which side of the meter it's on, whether it's at the house or whether it's within the distribution system. And actually, one customer had a leak on their side of the rental, right?
Yes,
Not a rental, but
it was an Airbnb,
Airbnb,
so they were out of town.
and they were out of town. The staff called them, said, "Hey, you got a leak here. It's a big." Came out, fixed it, went to the office and said, "Thank you so much for being able to have that data available." That
We could quickly detect it
Yeah.
and catch it.
And so that's it's going to be very interesting, and I think that over the next couple months, we'll be able to get a much better feel of where our unaccounted for, how much it is coming from either leaks or I surmise a lot of it is probably from the old meters that were in the system. We have 30, 40-year-old mechanical meters by every watt. So I think we're going to see over the next 2 months, we'll see a change in our accountability. If we do, we'll go back and look at that and see if we now have room to even lower the rates or to steady to still fund into the accounts.
Question, if I may. Sure. The assessment fee, is there any, minimum number of gallons included that, or is that? So your bill goes up with gallon number one.
Yeah, so it builds on hundreds of gallons. So
So the first 100 gallons you'd be billed.
that's right. So the account, the building is done in hundreds of gallons. The rate order is done in thousands. So if you use my bill last month, I had 2,400 gallons, which is 2.4 thousand. So then you just face 2.8. That's what happens in the billing system. So they can then extract. But it's a much more efficient system. And the other thing is that on the availability fee, we charge an additional number on top of the availability fee if you move outside the city limits but receive water service. So Silver Springs plays in the other one-offs that have city water that that are outside the city limit. Last calculation. 2024. And we, it turns out that it is outside the city limits, 15% than outside the city limits. So what we did is we ran to look at what is our bond indebtedness that we're paying for on the water system on an annual basis. And then said, okay, outside the city limits, you need to pay 15% as well. And if we divide it out among the 150 customers at this particular point in time, that's an additional $16.12 outside the city limits to pay on top of that, but it gives us equality on the cost of delivery services. The other item that I was going to talk about was we had our first run at the capital improvements for the construction. I think we were at in which we're looking at, it seems like it is feasible to pull this off. It just takes 30 years to do that. And we're going to do it in 10-year increments because we'll tell it what bond rates need and all of that. But the gist of it is that new bond debt will be retired at 2.23% per year. We included an inflation rate of 3.5% per year. The 3-year cycle gives us time to then start preparing the next set of infrastructure. And on average, in this plan, we're assuming that we'll get 20% of grants. So that means, look at the numbers we're talking about, we can find grant reviews to be able to cover that additional deficit. And the main concept here is that we won't sell bonds, but we're trying to match up long-term debt to AV. And in the past, the long-term debt to AV is just all over the place. We're making
AV.
assessed value of property, so it keeps going up, right? Sorry. I did it after it's pretty easy. So it's an easy way for us to monitor what numbers need to occur for the bond issuance.
I was gonna say, what number are you started with if you're going to retire 3%?
Right, so we are looking,
Yeah.
right, so for water, we've got 116 billion, 117 billion allocated over 30 years. We have 48 billion allocated to wastewater, and we have 60.1 billion allocated for streets. If you look at that, that's about 224,225 million. And so what we'll be doing is, as we put together a bundle in 3-year increments, we've kind of scheduled it out so that the first bond issue would be 1.5 million for streets, 6.2 billion, 1.5 in grants, and 6.2 million in bonds. And before that, we well, yes, but the point is that there is a sequence to it. Absolutely. Yeah, they're absolutely. Streets are probably the last
Yeah.
of anything to get done because we want to get line lines to the out from underneath the streets. We are leaning more toward rehabbing the existing line within the streets for sewer. We may not have enough room because one of the issues with streets in Blanco is we think maximum width is for sure. So that's 12 lanes. It's not a big street. And part of it is because of right of ways within the property.
The surveys are jacked up every which way.
They're all over the place. So we just think that's a problem. The other thing is that on the streets, well, on all the assets, we're looking at functionally what's their obligation. So we have certain streets, 3 up or down, a real street, 3 inches of asphalt block. As we get further away from the traffic, impacts, things like that, we can go back to like a seal coat, 2-layer seal coat, something like that, especially our western subdivisions outside of Canada. And so, then again, over a 30-year period, we're only talking about where we are today. We don't know where we're going to be in 10, 15 years in terms of growth and other things. But hopefully, we'll be addressing all of that. That's what they're going to so I just wanted to provide some clarity that we're really looking at those things. Historically, the AV assessed value has increased 8% every year. What we're assuming is that in our calculations, we've used that we're going to operate under the 6%. So it gives us some flexibility in terms of when we issue a bond issue, we know that we cover that. All right. And then, so what else have we been working on? So one of our top priorities is addressing water scarcity. Look at other sources, clean water, some availability of water. Some of those, so really talk about those at this point. And I think it's going to be Blanco that kind of sets the benchmark as to how to become self-sufficient. Got some good discussions going out. The only other thing that I want to bring to your attention was this is a recent ruling from the Texas Supreme Court that saw the Mountain ownership of San Diego River. This throws a huge wrinkle into life because conceivably the water that we discharge into the river that comes down to conceivably charge them for it. So it's going to be interesting. GDRA is already filed a motion to address this SAWS ruling, but it just tells you that the hill country is in for a war and it's going to be over. And so we get prepared for it, create as many possibilities to get our hands on water. Those are the things we're working on. And questions?
Thank you for the hard work. I wish I was sobering to fit in that meeting.
One other thing, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I did go to the workshop today about that meeting. I'm telling you, I think this is gonna be a huge, huge benefit. Because we'll be able to monitor that very closely. And we see those numbers dropping. We get into the single digits, kind of for a while. But it's definitely was eye-opening.
Okay, thank you so much. All right. Next up, Transportation Planning Advisory Committee, presentation, Councilmember Lee. Right.
Put the PowerPoint on. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. I'm Dennis Moore. I've got Ken Welch here as well. So if you've got any questions, I've asked him to jump in with me here. But first off, just kind of go through kind of the standing directives for the TPAC. So again, looking at recommending comprehensive transportation plan, including street layouts, all that. I won't read through the slides to everybody, but just wanted to outline the things that TPAC historically has been working on and still looking at and working on, coordinating city transportation and providing community outreach. Again, we feel is vitally important with this committee. Next slide, please. Current directives, kind of the three that we're really focused in on. Again, future of Main Street, Highway 281, whether the no build or the relief route, which I'll talk a little bit more about that here in a moment. Of course, that's taking up the majority of our time and focus at the moment. The voluntary annexation or other options and opportunities, different relief route is selected. So again, this is not a lobbying effort or anything like that, but for TPAC, it's more about research, education, different considerations to look at. And I'll also talk a little bit more about that here in a moment also. And then parking, of course, as visitors, not traffic, right? We can talk about that in TPAC. As visitors into Blanco and Crease, really try to figure out how can the city handle the parking and traffic needs when that happens. So recent updates, we've expanded TPAC to include 11 members now, which includes 5 from the already existing TPAC, and then we brought in 6 more, including myself. We held our first committee meeting a couple of weeks ago with the expanded committee. And really the main focus of that meeting was just kind of to get caught back up because we had a slight pause on the committee's work. And so kind of getting everybody, new members up to speed and kind of talking through where things are in regards to the future of Main Street project. And then talk a little bit about the TxDOT meeting, which I will dive more into here in a moment. That's the bulk of my comments today, but had a meeting with TxDOT last week. All right. So accomplishments. So TPAC had a community meeting at the end of July. Over 800 community members showed up. It's a really well attended meeting. Great information provided. I won't go through all the stats here. The presentation should be on the website, on the TPAC website on the city. So I'd encourage you to take a look at it. They did a ton of research and really good data and relayed a lot of good information to the community. They've also helped to provide over 800 historical and environmental features to TxDOT. As TxDOT's evaluating a relief route, if a relief route is the option that's chosen, just different things like that to consider. So really, really good work there. So if you haven't looked at it, or if you weren't at that meeting, I'd encourage you to go to the website and check that out. Again, one of the main things that was relayed is that this is a marathon, not a sprint. We are 10 years away at a minimum before, if it is a relief route, before that's up and going. So lots of time between now and then. All right, so with the TxDOT meeting, so we had a few people meet with Tucker Ferguson, Heather Wynn, and Megan Dudley with TxDOT. Went through a lot of things, obviously focused on Blanco. One thing that I did put up there I wanted to mention, so this is, again, outside the city, doesn't directly impact us, but the widening of Highway 281, that project is a go. It is funded, it's being worked on. What has not been funded yet is the relief route. And again, I will mention too, the no build remains an option until it isn't, so there's always going to be that there until TxDOT completely rules it out. But if it were to go the relief route status, one, they haven't made a selection yet as to what the route would look like. They've not funded it, and they said that it would be at least 10 years away from it being up and people driving on it. They did emphasize that if it is a relief route, and that's why I started using that word instead of bypass. So relief route, so they were very clear that they wanted it to be a true relief route and not a new main street. So they're trying to control access, exits, and all of that. They said that if whatever exits may be included, they would look hard at already existing thoroughfares such as 165. So they were clear that they have not decided anything definitive yet. So we want to be clear there, but they did say that they would look at existing thoroughfares for exits. One thing that we did talk about in CPAC, and I know the community was expecting it as well, we were expecting some communication from TxDOT this month on the route that was picked and some plans and things like that. And so that is not happening. TxDOT is a little delayed on making their decision. One reason is they're trying to minimize as much impact as they can. So they're really looking at property lines and would try to, they call it hugging a property line as opposed to cutting through the middle of a big piece of property. So they're taking it seriously, diving in and trying to minimize the impact on whatever route may be selected. We talked a little bit about the frontage road. Again, TxDOT's policy right now is really, it's just a one-way type of deal. So it's not going to be two-way traffic on any frontage roads that may be built. And then again, to reemphasize, 10 plus years before a route is built and we're driving on it, if that is ultimately the decision or the direction that TxDOT goes. All right. All right. So next steps. And so again, a lot of this is more focused on the TxDOT piece. Again, I mentioned the other initiatives that we're working through as well. But right now, the big focus, especially with the TxDOT meeting, has been around the TxDOT piece. So I mentioned communication earlier. Communication is key. And so we do want to let the community know the status. TxDOT did mention that they were going to give us something in writing to the city that we can relay to the community. So we hope to get that soon so we can get that out to everybody. Some other things on the short term though. So we're 10 years away. If it is a relief route, we're 10 years away from that happening. So we have to figure out how to handle traffic over the next 10 years. And one thing that we brought up in the meeting with TxDOT is Blanco Avenue down here at that second traffic light. Right now it's one way each way, and it really causes a lot of backup. And so we're looking at how can we adjust those traffic lanes and things like that. So that'll be something that we'll look at and try to think through and help provide some thoughts to TxDOT for their consideration. Another thing is speed limit considerations through town to try to get a little more consistency with that. Midterm, TxDOT brought up in our meeting, stoplights. So are we interested in more stoplights up and down 281? If so, where? If so, what would sequencing look like? So that's, and again, that's not an immediate thing. That was just something that they brought up. So that'll be something that TPIC will start to do a little research on and discussion there. And then of course, communication, because, so I put that in midterm. So once we really get the more finalized timeframe from TxDOT, to really kind of know what to expect, TPAC plans to really have a very robust communication plan with the community to keep everybody up to date with what's going on. And then also the considerations for the city, the chamber, and businesses. So again, this isn't TPAC necessarily making recommendations or implementing anything or doing business development, but as we're doing our research and education, just trying to give businesses and the city and the chamber things to consider as we have this long runway to the 10-year mark. Long term, again, the voluntary annexation or other options, again, that's a bigger conversation. So we don't have much information there, but that is something that we'll continue to explore. And then again, if it is a relief route and they do use existing thoroughfares, 160, the intersection of 165 and 163, going to dramatically change traffic flow coming into town on 163 is going to dramatically change. So, so that's kind of on our list right now to start thinking through. Again, a lot still kind of depends on getting more information and a timeframe, selected route, and all of that from TechStop. So we're doing what we can in the meantime, but that's really kind of the big piece that we're waiting. So that's what I've got. I know it's pretty quick and high level, but if there's any questions, happy to take those. And Ken as well. I've done a lot of work in doing all this research.
Great work. Thank you so
All
much.
right, thank you.
Moving on to staff presentation, starting with the city administrator, Jess.
All right, thank you very much. So last month, the council adopted the 2025 tax rate and the budget September 27th. We had 4 budget meetings and we have budget surplus in both the enterprise and general fund. We are now in this new year. So we got that done on time. That was a great, and the reason I'm explaining that is because we have projects that are moving with this budget. So tonight, the 2024 A series will be delayed for a second time. The reason why that has happened is our Steve Ferry, who's our financial advisor, is working on getting those funds to you. And so at that point, council will be looking at 3 large items, and they're looking at, so even though it's going to be delayed tonight, the 2024 A series, we'll be looking at $1.5 million and amended in November at 1.5. 3 projects, or 3 main projects are the other thing to look at is track or add to it. The 3 main projects we're looking at is the filter to waste and the water treatment plant. We'll talk a little bit more later in this. Sewer on the north side and the retaining wall from Town Center 3. So those are the 3 main projects, not the only ones, and those can be, of course, added or subtracted. So, and then the hydrant, yeah, there's a 3 main, there's hydrant, and there's some other things. Yes, ma'am. That's fine. The water plant. So I want people to know that there's still a lot of activity in the water plant this week. There's a reason for this, because the water plant is close to being operational. They'll be doing test run on it. Inframark will be there, but it is being performed by ACP and it's self-consultant, and not ACP or the front that are contractors, and so they will be working on that. They will also know if media time for the waste that actually works. And so we'll have that more update as we can provide that update. But if you see activity, that's what that is. So the water meter, as you heard, I think we have 50 meters left to install, but the majority of the meters have been done. The mayor explained a lot better than I would. There were some billing issues. Specifically, the billing issue that you're seeing, everybody's seeing, is that when someone pulled their meter, let's say in the middle of this billing cycle, there is an old water meter and then there's a new one. What's happening is our fund view is not picking up both those meters. They're giving the exact amount of gallonage that's being done, but they're not actually showing the readings on both meters. So you're seeing one reading, and that is the main issue. You maybe have other issues. If you do have other issues that can't be explained from a simple phone call, what I would suggest is as the mayor mentioned, the utility billing request form, it's online, and then the city secretary will receive it and to make sure that someone gets a call back. But we really do want to work on this. Council had asked me to make sure that was on it. The mayor mentioned that, and want to make sure that we're working with the community. We know this month and next month there will be billing issues, and we will work very hard to get through. And the one last thing, be remiss if I didn't mention this. What makes this city run is not the council and not the staff, but it's the people in the community that go on the boards, volunteer their time. And so I want to talk about a couple commissions and boards that need your tender love and care. The Comprehensive Plan Board, you're still taking in applications for that. You certainly give me a call, or any council members who may answer questions about the comp plan and how that is going to work, the CMP. Planning and zoning after tonight will hopefully
get another one on board, but we'll still need 2 more people. It's supposed to have 7 people, and then right now we have 4. We're adding a 5th. We still need 2 more. And then historic preservation is a very important commission. They used to have 6 people, and then they've added it to 7. So it's easier to get a quorum, so they need 1. Well, these are great boards. There's even a couple of zoning commissioners who became council members. So there's that to consider. Thank you. Oh, and one last thing. The monthly, I know we've talked about this, council had asked about doing a monthly workshop. We were looking at doing a monthly workshop. So, you know, the second Tuesday council does for the council meeting. We're looking at the 4th Tuesday, same time, 1 hour. And this workshop will either start later this month or November. This workshop's gonna be like what a lot of cities have, which you're gonna have discussion with council and staff about public works projects, updates for different projects we're working on. There'll be more of a situation where citizens can ask questions in a more relaxed atmosphere. Hopefully that will help alleviate some of the non-information that maybe people are getting or not getting, and we'll be able to basically talk to the citizens, and the citizens can talk to their council members and understand what they're doing. So we'll have it once a month, either the end of this month, or we get everybody scheduled together, or start one down for a meeting just for an hour. That's it.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Up next, interim finance director, Dana.
Okay, guys, as you've noticed, I guess, and as year end comes around, I have towards the end of November to go ahead and complete our fiscal year end. Over, and then we'll start making adjustments in November. But bills I've been voraciously trying to make sure I've got everything paid for November. So it's kind of looks like a bit a long mess right at the moment. So I waylaid it for this month. We will come in November. We will look at fiscal year end and make the amendments that I would suggest. And we will also look at our October as kind of a sophomore.
Thank you so much. Finally, Chief Thornhill, you're up.
Well, I'd like to first off thank the mayor and the council for the Officer Appreciation Day on September 14th. I think it was a great turnout. I apologize again that half my staff being on sick at the time, but it's just going around right now. I also want to address, we had the homecoming parade. There was one little flaw in that, but some miscommunication amongst deputies and myself, so that won't happen again. I made sure of that. And then we also attended the first responder blessing on September 30th. That went well. And they have held their first 5K run with 23. Which one of the council members that's not here will participate in that. Now on the staffing, this is probably the biggest concern for the council was we were understaffed for quite a while. I just want to bring y'all up on the staffing situation. We've made 2 conditional job offers. We interviewed 3 people. We did make 3 conditional job offers, only 2 accepted. And so we still have 1 position that we're looking to fill, and we're still running backgrounds on applicants right now. Oh, and one of those women is currently in the academy, so he won't graduate until the end of February. So he won't be able to start the launch. Our numbers are down a little bit. They're up on calls for service, down on everything else, which is good. We did see a slight increase in traffic accidents, but those were minors and mostly on private property, so. Which you can't control how people drive on private property. Anything?
Thank you.
I'm gonna pull people over in school zones.
So now we have the consent agenda. There are minutes from three meetings, 6, 12, and 27. I was not at the 27th. But the other two I looked at, I didn't see any issues, did not have any corrections. So if they're good to go, I'll take entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve the consent agenda, consent agenda items.
There's a second. All in favor? Thank you so much. That was easy. Moving on, new business item number 1. This is the short-term rental permit. What that was in 6 to 12th Street. Mr. Escovitch.
Thank you, Mr. 1006 12th Street. When we review this against STR ordinance, what we're really looking for is to make sure that this property is following all the rules of what an STR would be. Also to make sure that it falls within or close that threshold of 10%. And it does, as far as there are no other non-owner occupied STRs in that area. I'm gonna go ahead and show you. There was one and plus that just it's not in favor of any short-term rentals, and that's in your packet. And
You sit down you business.
yeah, let's do that.
Yes.
Okay, so there's the application. I'm gonna just really show you kind of what it looks like. It's a lot. That's the house plan, and again, it meets all of the requirements, and P and Z did both approve it, recommend approval to council, and the applicants are here. If you'd like to ask.
Ms. Latham, is that?
Yes.
We'd like to say you're welcome to speak to us if you want.
We purchased the home, we love Blanco, we live up the road up in Spring Branch. We purchased the home to eventually probably move here. But in the meantime, we'd like to, have it as a short-term rental on occasion and also for family overflow when they come from Houston to visit. So
Is that a new construction? Is it looks newish?
it is, I think it's 2 years old. Do you know Dennis Arneson? It was his home. It's on 12th Street. I think it's like 2 years old. It's part of the, estate, that they sold off some of the properties, and there's one.
Do you have any questions for her or Warren? Any discussion?
You did say P and Z recommended to approve.
Yes, sir.
I'll take a motion. No conversation.
I'll move we approve the short-term rental application.
For a second?
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor? Yeah, very good. You got it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, new business number 2. This is a resolution delaying action on the CO 2024A.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor and Council. 2024 A series was a $2.5 million certificate of obligation, and staff is requesting that you delay this because in the meantime to actually have a financial advisor get the funding and bring it to you and give you a couple different options. If you remember that on September 27th, the council approved $1.5 million for funding, not for projects in specific. So when we come back in November, we'll be considering $1.5 million. But at that time, then they'll make a decision on the different projects. However, we'll I'll just list the projects that we were considering at the time. Keep on considering it, but tonight's actual approval or your action would approve the delay resolution. But you are looking at filter the waste completion of the water plant by 462,000, the sewer installation for 15 the city limits at about 600,000, the VFDs at 30,000, the fire hydrants, which are about 100,000, and they're also looking at a retaining wall of town center because of some of the damage to them in the year. So that those were projects that can be added or subtracted, but that was what we looked at. So tonight, it's about the latest.
I mean, we've already got a bill for the water plant.
That's correct. And so they want their money soon.
Yeah. But this is a procedural thing.
Yes, it's just a procedure from the farm.
Any question, conversation, discussion?
So if we had any issues with any of these programs, that would be done at a later.
That'll be done next month.
That's fine.
Tonight is just the delay.
Okay. Then I move that we wait.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Anyone second? All in favor? Opposed? Staying? 3, 4, it is. Okey dokey. Moving on, new business item number 3. Warren, you want to talk about this? This is the toggle phone equipment.
Yes, so this is just a picture of what a ruler would look like, but this is a little bit more of a conversation about how you as council want to continue to take care of potholes and minor street repair. So what you as council agreed to was to hire Daryl Wagner with Available Construction to do $35,000 worth of filling potholes. And they did that. I think the original idea that when we started talking about having Infomark handling this, which they have hired us, or they are going to be hired a 7th employee to do that free of charge to us. We had talked about having a hot mix machine, one that we actually have at our public works building at our fire station. What we found was that hadn't been used for 6 or 7 years, and would actually being fixed and having people that actually know how to use hot mix. So Moses had mentioned that he could probably fix that. Still costs money to fix it, but we fixed it. We could sell it or use it. But the question about whether you want to use the roller or buy the roller is really specifically on how we want to look at those. I got a lot of people from council and from the public said that they really liked how it was done. And how it was done was a 1 or 2-man crew that basically used this roller compactor, used cold mix. That cold mix can be gotten from Johnson City. It's easier to get the mix. And specifically, you can either get a used roller for about $25,000, and that was what was recommended by Daryl, or we can get one for about $15,000, maybe 16, and buy it somewhere and then you have to basically ship it. So we got about 13.5 or 14, and it's $1,500 to get it over here. But those are really your 3 options. You're looking at either using a compactor roller and having like 1 or 2 person do it, or you have 1 person do it. User or on you, or you could go to the idea that we originally had, which was the hot mix. But we have to have some training on the current staff, and I believe it would take 2 or 3 people to work that. And without Infomark here, I don't know if Mr. Moses would have like to talk a little bit about how that works and what your thoughts.
Yeah, Warren and I had spoken a little bit about this, and the more I thought about it, the cold mix and the roller is food that we're going to have working on it, or a limited amount of food, is probably better off. The machine that we have sitting over in the firehouse, good machine, it would take multiple people to run it. It uses air heat to melt tar, mix it with gravel, and spray it down.
certain areas, it's more for edges of roads, keep the edges of roads together, as part of the work specific holes with it. It is a good machine that can possibly be repaired and sold, somebody can get it or repaired. And the crew were trained how to use it. There's specific instances that would be a good machine to use for, but it's not gonna solve.
And right now, since we're not redoing the streets, filling potholes.
Band-aid.
Correct. It's essentially a Band-Aid. It's a short-term fix, but that's probably the cheapest, least labor-intensive method of getting it done. At least trying to alleviate the car damages with this concept.
I think even the police department mentioned how much nicer it was while we were in.
Yeah, I didn't go through as many cars and so.
So the question, yes, sir.
Question. So I know looking for Marquis that they have some of their own equipment that they use working for the city. Do they have a roller that they use? Is that an option or?
No, they don't have a roller, and as far as I know, there isn't any around town as far as, you would actually have to purchase one. I talked to Damon, you'd be fine. New would be fine too. The only difference is new wouldn't have to be, would have to fix it as often as used, but I don't think that if it's a good quality machine, I don't think there's a problem.
Now imagine you have to have a trailer with that.
We do have a trailer. We have a
Look at
trailer.
how many the weight of that thing.
Yes. Two trailers.
And I believe it can cover that. I've talked to Damon, the trailer can cover actually getting on, getting it off.
Okay, so I know in the new contracts, I mean, they agreed to hire it and build models and all that, but they didn't allocate for machinery to do it.
They did not. We discussed it, and that was the only thing. We talked about it in the contract. That was the only thing that they weren't. They added an extra employee, added a scope. They considered about $90,000 to $100,000 value, but they did not add machine.
Now, let me ask you, that wouldn't become their machine.
Our machine, we're actually using COVID, we're using the very last COVID money for that. So I'm not saying it's free, but I'm just saying that it's money that we actually have.
Could we buy the used machine and then, okay, so the new machine was like 25,000?
New machine's 25, and we'll probably the used machine about 15 or 16.
Okay. Buy the used and then, have that balance of, of 25, and for materials.
And we have, I think, 40, I think it's 44 for the materials now, but value is value. So if you have that 10,000, you can use it somewhere else. So I think that's no problem with you with the used machine.
Because I mean, a new one's gonna be used as soon as you get it off the lot.
So yes, the answer, that's correct. And it's fine to try to look for a used machine, because we're still in the middle of trying to hire those 7 people, and they're actually working on it. So hopefully we get together.
That's the researching this. And they were selling some of them that had as much, almost 1,000 hours on them. So that told me it was a pretty good machine. I mean, we would buy one with 1,000 hours on it, but they had several that had 110, 140.
These calculate rollers in it's 4
I didn't watch the YouTube video, I don't know how to fix the phone or something.
So what we're looking for is a recommendation. That's a recommendation. Whatever council wants to do with this, so it's really about how you want to have to see your streets fixed. We'll mix new or used, whatever it wants.
And the unused public money is money that we planned on using in this current year budget, 2024 budget that didn't get used?
Yeah, so we're gonna purchase it with the COVID money from 24. It hasn't gotten used. We have 60 days. Oh, just walking my back. We have 60 days to use it from October 1st. So we would purchase this roller within the 60 days and put it to the 23-24 year, not this year's. And we lost year's fund.
So you're looking for a thumbs up tonight?
Yes, I'm looking for approval from council for either a new or a used roller, whichever you prefer.
And the whole mix fit to them.
No, it's, full mix is already in the budget.
So for the used machine, could, the additional fund could be used for additional code. With your point.
That's what I was thinking.
That's not spent. Yeah, excellent. Or just not.
Yeah, I just figured. Sure, there's something else that somebody else would do.
I guess it's more down to COVID dollars. Is it use it or lose it? Are we up against any time frame on?
We have to use it all, but the difference of $10,000, we'll find something.
Right, okay, so we can't just keep it, so we.
We cannot keep it.
And then allocate, right.
This 15 or 25 will help us use it very often. We have about $25,000 left, but this will help. Either way, this will help us use that by hospital.
Any more discussion? I'll entertain a motion if anyone wants to make one.
I'm leaning toward the used, so I make a motion that we purchase a used machine. Use.
Is there a second?
It's got a same deed, we can't find a good use.
I will find one. Do we have a motion in a second?
Okay.
Yeah, any more conversation? All in favor? All right. Thank you so much. Moving on, new business item number 4. This is the sign ordinance.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. This is going to take a little bit to go through. I am going to kind of go through this a little bit. I mean, if you have questions of me, and I would really like to here, but being lead chair, he worked really, really hard on this. Finally, just kicked it through, but it's taken about 9-10 months to kind of get to this point, a little longer than that. The sign ordinance right now is 2011. We don't really know if it was 38 pages or 42 pages, but I actually looked through something that council were asking something I sent, and it looked like it was 42. So I think the thought here, and I'm going to steal this thunder a little bit, was to try to make something that's easy to read, easy to understand. I know so many times that whenever someone wants to put a sign, they ask me, you know, what can I do? What can't I do? And it's not their fault because it's hard to follow. So, but it's more than that. We are making it easier to do things. I want to talk about the first part, the stricter thing that needs to be one, and that is not have any pole signs at all. And this would be all either wall signs or monument signs or any other sign that there would be no pole signs. So that is something they want to look at. Having said that, then this is the old standard, and the old standard basically is difficult in the sense that everything is different. But what I will tell you is, for pole and for monuments, generally, what you're looking at is every location right now is 64 square feet. If it's hiding far enough to your line, basically it's 64 feet. If you have 3 businesses, you have to divide that by 3. If you have 4 businesses, and they call them directory signs. And so when you look through here, everything is standard in the sense that you have 64, 16, 18, whatever it happens to be, but it's relatively restricted. And so when you go through here, talk of monument, single model home, monument, just everything is pretty small. Now, that's obviously worked pretty well for us, but it's difficult to navigate. This is basically the old one. So, what we've done then, so you can kind of see that, and I know you have questions right now of what I mentioned just right now and what the actual signage is for the current signage. Does anyone have a question about that?
And I can attest that it's convoluted as heck trying to read through that thing to figure out what to do. So any simplification is an improvement.
Well, part of the problem is to tell you to do something and take it away and tell you to do it again. You would have no idea what it actually allowed you to do.
And I will go to the new sign ordinance. This is where Brandon's probably gonna jump up a little bit and talk about these things if you like. Let's go ahead and talk about, so it goes to about 12 pages. And the main part of it is the loud sign that permit. And kind of what the idea is, and this is where I need a little bit of help. Sure. The general idea of the monument sign is, I want you to explain it.
Sure. So we started with the premise that one, a huge portion of our city's income comes from the sales tax. And COVID has happened and a lot of businesses are struggling. So we wanted to try to simplify this to allow our businesses to be more successful, which in turn makes the city more successful. On the back end of that, we wanted to still maintain the historical charm of our community, but really make it easier to read. And what we tried to come up with was a simple version that you knew what kind of sign you wanted to look at this, and in 15 seconds, you know what you're allowed to be done. We also really thought about this in a structure of the bigger business, the bigger the sign makes sense, right? I mean, if you've got a 20-foot building face of your building, a massive sign doesn't look as fitting as a 70-foot sign, 70-foot building. And so we went through here, and basically what we did is we structured everything per foot of building frontage. So